As with other sections, this tutorial is meant to complement the documents, not to replace them. The first step in any risk assessment is to conduct an inventory. And while it's important to do this for every aspect of your business, in this case we will just be looking at the information you collect and retain. The best way to figure out what information you collect and or keep is to look at how you do business. How do you interact with your customers? What information is part of each transaction? What is collected? What is kept? Where does it go? Who has access to it? Another place to look is your back office transactions. There may be additional information that you use here. How do you manage your employees? Include all HR activities. Ask the same questions as you did with customer interactions. What other business activities do you have? Almost every business activity you do makes use of some information. Taken together, this information should be consistent with the information identified as part of your sensitive information plan. Some activities that don't require information may also be important if they create other risks. An example of this would be keeping a room with file cabinets unlocked to allow access to a cleaning crew. Controls are the actions you take to mitigate or eliminate risks. Often, several controls will be used to mitigate a particular risk. An example of this type of chain is information you keep in a filing cabinet, the risk. The control that you can use to protect the information is to lock the file cabinet. Unfortunately, since the key is kept where anyone can get to it, the control is ineffective. Making sure that the key is protected becomes a second and very important control. The goal is to eliminate risks that you can and mitigate those that can't be eliminated. Most controls must be mitigated. An example of eliminating a risk would be not collecting or keeping information that you don't need. You can't lose what you don't collect. In order to determine which risks to worry about first, you have to measure each risk in terms of likelihood and severity. In terms of information, the risk is normally related to what would happen if that information were lost or accessed by someone who shouldn't. The more information or the more sensitive the information, the more severe the risk. The more people who can access it, or the less it is protected, the greater the likelihood of the risk. The risks to deal with first are the ones that rate high on both severity and likelihood. Actions like adding more security can reduce the likelihood. Separating information, such as segregating employee data from customer data, can help reduce the severity. Be sure to write down all of the risks you identify, as well as what steps you have taken to mitigate them. The risk analysis should be reviewed and updated at least annually, but also with any change on how you do business.